Morning, how you guys doing today? So out with Jordan doing our little slow walk this morning, and I thought I'd talk about the stock market and more specifically about what you might be doing if you're in the stock market, right? I have lots of friends who have a large portion of their liquidity, at least, in the market, and over the last month or so, it's been pretty ugly, and I think human nature kicks in, right? I think there's a couple of things that we need to think about. The one thing I often go back to and ask them is what was your investment thesis when you bought that stock or that index fund or that whatever? And more often than not, when they're honest with themselves, they say, well, I wanted it to go up, right? It had gone up for X amount of months, quarters, years, and I wanted to catch the wave. And that's just another example that really, certainly Wall Street is founded on at least an unsaid principle of fear and greed, right? Markets, the bull markets, I've done some research, are averaging, historically, 8, 9, 10 years. And, the last good portion of those bull markets, if you go back and look, is just greed. You get more mama and pop investors coming in. You get more money off the sidelines and people just pile in because, the good times are going to last forever. And, then they don't, right? Because stocks go up above their, base value, right? And again, the value of a stock should be the expected return or cash flow from profits from years to come. And of course, there's growth rates and, PE multiples and, all of that stuff. But when you're buying simply for greed, when you're honest with yourself, I think you need to ask yourself. And what's going to happen now is fear is going to kick in. This is what's going to happen for many of you. Many of you bought stocks that are down 20% or more. And if you haven't sold already, which probably most of you haven't, because for some reason we hold on to our winners or our losers too long and we sell our winners too fast. Again, human nature. But what you're going to be doing now is you're going to be saying to yourself, don't worry, it'll come back. It'll come back someday, and basically what you're going to do is just hope and pray that someday the stock comes back. And then what we're going to do is you're going to sell it at break even, right? And you basically have wasted all that time and not done anything with it. It's we just need to watch ourselves. Fear and greed are powerful. They are forces that really interact with Wall Street. It's probably the most obvious in my mind. Right, when greed's in vogue, like the buyers or the bull market here recently, it took off. We're in a bear market now, or on the cusp, if it hasn't been called already. And I think fear is going to kick in, and it's going to be nasty. I think there's going to be plenty of days that are scary in the near future. And you could do a couple things. You could do the ostrich, right? Just stick your head down, stop looking. I think some of you are going to do that. I think some of you will eventually get to the point where you just wash out. Unfortunately, I think that'll happen after another 20% drop instead of, cutting your losses early. So, I think this is interesting times just to sit back and evaluate and ask yourself, why'd you buy it? Did you buy it for good reasons? Do you think it's going up? Do you think they're growing? Do you think their profit's up? Do they dominate their market? I don't know what it is. But those are the kind of things to think about. And then in fairness, this fear and greed thing, it plays in real estate too, right? We saw it right up through 2006. Everybody was greedy, getting these silly loans going forward. The only difference is when you look at real estate, right? If you do it correctly, meaning conservative financing, investing for cash flow, all of those things, you can hold on through the route, right? When the market crashed, we held on because we were investing for cash flow and not investing for appreciation, right? If you're investing for appreciation, you're being greedy, you're making a bad strategic bet, and something that I don't support. But if you invest for cash flow, who cares if the house goes down in value? You have fixed rate debt, you have rent coming in, and cash flow is what you wanted. So that still shows up. And when the market crashed, the last little point on that with real estate is we profited. Our cash flow went up, our occupancy went up, and we were able to buy stuff at a discount. So in the end, I just want to talk about fear and greed and see what y'all thought. Thanks.